What's up, Frag fam? Max Forti with FumeChat episode 4. Today we're going to talk about the fragrance pyramid, comparing linear and transitional, more complex scents. Guys, keep it right there. It's coming up right now. Guys, as you start to tune in, please let me know what you're wearing today, what's your scent of the day, and let me know where you're tuning in from. My scent of the day today is Sycamore from Chanel. The weather is starting to get a little bit cooler here in the East Coast. This is a beautiful vetiver scent, vetiver base scent. And this is the EDT, the Eau de Toilette concentration, which is the older version. Now I know they have an Eau de Parfum formulation, which supposedly it's not as good as the EDT. I haven't tried that one, so I don't know the differences. But this here is an amazing vetiver scent. If you like vetiver, definitely check this one out. So let me know what you guys are rocking today as you start to tune in. Today we're here at episode 4 of FumeChat. We're talking about the fragrance pyramid. We're talking about linear scents versus complex scents that do transition. I want you guys to let me know your thoughts on the matter. You know, what do you think about the fragrance pyramids? You know, the fragrance notes, the complexity of the accords, the genres. We're going to dabble a little bit into the, the fragrance pyramid and also the difference between linear and more complex transitional scents. Let's get going here, guys. We're talking about the fragrance pyramid. So as we all know, the fragrance pyramid gives us, a structure for a fragrance. You got the top notes, the heart notes, and also the base notes. And, most importantly to understand this is that structure is fundamentally, put together with those notes that compose those accords and enhance the fact, giving us those different genres and subgenres. Most importantly to understand, the top. Before we get into linear and complex transitional scents, I just want to give a quick little rundown of what I think about the top notes. So the top notes are most importantly those most ethereal or lighter, softer notes like your citruses, your bergamots, which is, bergamot is one of the most, one of the most wearable notes in different, compositions. You look at probably 90% of fragrances, they all have a little bit of bergamot in there because it just blends so well with whatever composition or genre you're going with. So it's in perfumery, it's a very used note, the note of bergamot, and it's very common as a top note. Again, ethereal, citruses, softer notes that tend to go out a little bit quicker, but also give you a beautiful greeting, a very captivating, intriguing, sparkly kind of a, greeting. So as you get into the heart note, it gets a little bit more creative. You're talking about, your woody notes, your floral notes. You might throw a little honey in there, maybe, some opopanax, incense. It gets a little more creative, a little bit more, daring, if you will, with the heart notes, and they tend to stay a little bit longer. Those top notes usually stand between 15 to 30 minutes, and you get to the heart of the fragrance. That's what you're going to get the longer in the fragrance, and it's going to push a little stronger for the next, hour or two until you get to the base notes, which is really what you're going to be left off with. And that's when you have your woodier, musky kind of accords, your vetivers, your sandalwoods, those type of heavier incense, resinous, opulent kind of accords. That's what you get with the dry down, most base fragrance accords. Now, when you talk about linear scents versus transitional, more complex scents, that is very, debatable. With some people, I'll give you a perfect example of a linear scent that's supposedly a scent that doesn't really do much, doesn't transition, doesn't change much. And it's one that's really talked about in the community. Of course, we're talking about Molecule 01 from Eccentric Molecules. Now, this particular fragrance, it is very linear on my skin. But what I do get is a very dry wood chip, sandalwood kind of a fragrance character on my skin. On my wife, this fragrance is actually a sweeter sandalwood, a very captivating, sweet, sensual. My skin is very dry, so it becomes like a woody, dry sandalwood. On my wife's, it's like a creamier, sweet sandalwood. So it is linear for both of us, but it's a different scent character or structure, if you will, of a linear scent. With my scent of the day today, Sycamore, it is most, a linear scent, but I do get a little bit of a transitional when that vetiver really kicks in from the heart into the dry down. But it's pretty much a linear scent from stronger to lighter. And another one that I like to talk about as a very linear scent on my skin is Givenchy Monsieur, which is a trifecta of citrus, woodsy notes, and a little bit of a vetiver kind of nuance. It smells great, but it's very linear on my skin. It's, you know, what I get from beginning all the way to dry down. It's the same thing, stronger to lighter to very light and soft, and then it completely disappears. But it is a great scent. If you guys haven't checked it out, if you like a more mature masculine scent, that's a great one. So those are like the main differences, you know, when it comes to linear scent. Now, when we talk about transitional scents, those particular fragrances will give you a tremendous transition and development from the top to the heart and to the dry down. It's going to start very citrus, and it might move into a floral, creamy heart, and then it's going to give you maybe a very resinous and sweet dry down. And there's many scents in the fragrance world. Most scents, I think, tend to be more transitional than linear. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're more complex. It's just the structure and also how it, you know, works with your body chemistry. Everybody's different. Like I said, with molecules of one, the way it transforms on my skin and my wife's skin, it's totally different. With a fragrance that's extremely, you know, complex on your skin, might be a little bit more linear in my skin. So let me know what you guys think about your top linear scents, and why do you like a linear scent versus a transitional scent? You know, myself, I love some linear scents because a lot of times, you know, you love the introduction, and sometimes you wish that fragrance would just stay that same kind of a character, that scent profile that you get with the introduction that greets you would actually stay throughout the life of the fragrance. And some fragrances do that, so for some people that might be a better proposition and something that's actually more appealing to you. But some people really want to have, you know, like 3 fragrances into one, like a fragrance that starts a certain way, moves into a totally different fragrance, and ends up a totally different scent altogether in the dry down. I do love those fragrances. I like both type of fragrances. I think there are, you know, occasions that I want a more linear scent, whether it's for the office. I want something that's going to retain that, you know, professional citrus, woody kind of a fragrance. And sometimes, you know, if I go into a date, I want something that's going to be, you know, starts off a little fresher but ends up more creamy and, you know, daring. So let me know in the comment section below, what are your favorite choices when you're looking for a linear scent? What are the most, you know, known linear scents that you have in your collection? And the opposite of that, what are the most transition and complex scents that you have in your collection? Please share with me. I'd like to, you know, start a little conversation about that. And what do you think? Is linear better than transitional? Please, let's start a little conversation. So besides the linear scents that we talked about and also the complex, you know, more transitional scents, some people will argue there are other types of, you know, fragrance structures and pyramids. You know, there are the Kaleidoscope scents, which are scents that will have a multitude of different genres put together into one fragrance and having a way that it's going to give you, you know, a plethora of different feels, you know, and that kind of a pyramid is called a kaleidoscope scent, which will hit you from all different angles. You know, some people will argue that are baseless and headless fragrances, which are fragrances that are structured mainly on just heart notes. It's going to remain linear within those beautiful heart notes. And if you guys want me to get more in depth into all these different, you know, sub-pyramids like the kaleidoscope, you know, the baseless and headless, you know, kind of scents, and also the undulating scents, which fluctuates into high and lows. I can also make a video talking about all those different fluctuations of pyramids, you know, and let you guys know some examples of great fragrances within those sub-pyramids categories. You know, stay tuned. I tend to do these fume chats every other week. You know, I talk about a different subject. You guys can, you know, check out the Emporium of Scents Facebook group if you guys are not a part of that group. It's a group that has 12,000 plus members sharing the great passion and love for this beautiful hobby that is fragrance. And I post some, you know, ways and polls for you guys to let me know what your thoughts are on the next subject that we talk about here. Your opinions and suggestions are always welcome, guys. You can always get me at maxforti@gmail.com. You can DM me here. You can get me on Facebook. You know, I'm very, you know, I'm always available to answer your questions and, you know, whatever suggestions and, you know, opinions you have for the channel, for the Instagram are quite welcome. And I love to invite other people. If you guys are in the fragrance community and want to be a part of the Fume Chat, the next Fume Chat, reach out to me and we'll definitely figure it out. So today we're actually I do this every other week. I might do it every week and have different guests. You know, today I'm talking about the fragrance pyramid. I'm talking about linear scents versus transitional complex scents. What are your thoughts on the whole fragrance pyramid? Do you go by it at all? You don't care as long as it smells good? Do you see the difference between linear and transition? What do you like best? Give me your feedback.
Yeah, so first of all, I think the fragrance pyramid is, you know, for some fragrances, and I'll give you an example of one brand that the pyramid does not apply to them at all because it's comprised entirely of base notes. So let me show you this. This is called Affinescence.
Okay.
This brand right here, even the name itself, fond note, the fond, which is
the bottom notes.
Bottom notes.
Yep.
Only that fragrance brand only focuses on base notes, so there's no pyramid.
Wow.
But if you're a fan of what's in the base notes, and you're like the kind of guy that eats an Oreo just for the cream filling and skips the cookie,
that's for you.
Fragrance, and so there's a place for those kinds of things.
I agree.
But I do like fragrances that evolve. So that's what the pyramid is for, so that you can have an evolution throughout your wearing, so that you can have an experience that's not just the same thing the whole way through, but you get something new every few minutes. You smell something new. So I think I like it.
I agree.
If the base notes are all good, and the middle notes are all good, and the top notes are all good, then
you have a winner.
It's going to be good.
Oh yeah, I agree with you completely. There are times that I want a fragrance that's more linear on my skin, that I'm going to get the whole thing throughout the life of the fragrance, but 99% of the time I go for those more complex transitional scents, because it's like owning different fragrances and getting those developments and different facets as the fragrance changes on your body chemistry. I love that. That's, very unique, and it's like, discovering new scents as the fragrance develops. I'm with you there. So guys, there you have it. That was a little conversation about the fragrance pyramid, linear versus complex scents. Of course, it's just a little bit of a snippet, a summarized version. It's very complex. It's a lot to talk about on one little video. I don't want it to be too long, but if you guys want me to talk about in more, precise or more in depth on each one of the subcategories of the pyramids, definitely comment down below, and I'll put other videos for you guys. And also, don't forget to comment below. Let me know other conversational videos that you guys would love to see on the channel. Thank you so much, guys, for all your support. I will catch you in the next one.